Buddy, thanks for joining the Gym Life podcast for another episode, special episode, episode 21. And this is kind of a sit-in with a guy that I've been tracking down for years now. And we finally got together. He's an old hometown guy, not too far from us. Lives over in Chicago now. Elite international pro powerlifter, Sam Ateyia.
Good, man. A lot of food,
Yeah.
a lot of lifting, a lot of sleeping.
I bet. I know. I got a hold of you last night, or I think it was like 2 days ago, and I said, yeah, we need to do this, and I know we've been keeping track of one another, but we lost track during those holidays.
True.
Lo and behold, you've been home for 2 fucking weeks or a month now, or yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's been a good time, man. I came out here. It's funny because I had so many plans, but when holidays come, you can never really predict what's going to happen.
No.
So I was just going with the flow, and when you said you can get me in today, I'm like, you know what? I leave Monday. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. It's good to have you, man. And I would have been disappointed had we had done this on a Zoom video, because you're too much of the showman not to have you in
right. I like to be in person, man. I can't do this camera stuff. I want to see your face and see your interaction. Like, I can't do that new school stuff.
I tell him all the time, I'm like, we got to stop the Zoom crap. I don't care if we got to start like driving to people. Like, I hate
we need
Zoom,
a bigger budget, man. We got to find some sponsors.
Well,
for that
one
or
day
we'll start flying people in like Rogan.
Hey, that would be dope.
My wife's used to being broke. We're fine.
Yeah, right.
Look, paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah, 100%.
Literally. Yeah, this is the new hobby, honey.
Yeah.
It's costing me a fortune. So, Sam, I got to tell you, man, more recently, you've done some pretty cool shit in powerlifting. You've been at it a while. We just talked a minute ago, and we have that common friend within the fitness community. And Robbie and I have made mention that it's kind of the 6 circles of Kevin Bacon in the lifting community. You could live in California, have a guy from Boston. Yeah. Somehow you're connected.
Very.
Now,
it's a very small world.
Yeah, it is. When I first started, well, I shouldn't say when I first started anything. I've been in this game as long as you have, and it's been a long time. But about like 2 years ago, I guess it was, and maybe you have a better timeline than I will. I was talking to a friend of mine at the gym, Tina. We talked about her figure competitor. And if you try to make me pronounce her last name, you might know it better than me. Ellen's something. It's a Greek name.
My English ain't better than yours.
No, okay. Yeah, I didn't think so. Anyhow, I said, I got to find somebody to get me in shape. And she says, how about French Phillips? He trains me. And I said, yeah, I looked on his page, and the guy's, well, as you know, you've worked with him. He's an accomplished guy. And that's when I saw you for the first time. But you weren't a power lifter.
No.
You were a bodybuilder.
I was.
Yeah. Not for long.
No, not for long. I did bodybuilding for a long time.
Yeah.
I started bodybuilding when I was 14 years old. The focus was to get strong for wrestling. That was my kind of most loved thing ever. I loved wrestling, the competitive edge, that I got from it. And I can transfer that to powerlifting now. But I got into bodybuilding and wanted to get stronger and stronger. And then after wrestling, I'm like, all right, let me do this. Started competing at 21.
Okay.
And then my last competition was at 25.
Yeah. But power was always a part of your game.
Yeah, and in high school, I squatted 495.
Okay.
And I was about 15 years old. I benched about 185, and I deadlift 405.
Wow.
Yeah.
Were you competing, or was that just
I was
recreational?
just for fun.
No shit.
Just, get to the gym. How much can you lift? Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
That's about it. No programming,
Right.
nothing crazy.
Was that a big part of your school back then? Was it the scene, kind of a lifting scene, or did you kind of just pick that up on your own?
No, my uncle was one of my biggest supporters, and he was a kind of very, very big guy. He used to bench 500 pounds back in the day, when 500 pounds was like...
A big deal.
Yes, very big deal. It still is, but back in the day, not many people did
there's
that.
a lot more doing it, but there's still very little.
Yeah, so he got me into it, and he's like, we're going to get you stronger for wrestling, and then, he just stayed on my ass and
You
kept
fell
pushing
in love
me.
with it, obviously.
Yeah, and a lot of people ask me, like, how you lift the way you lift, and it's because I lifted around old school guys,
Yeah, man, I tell you,
I kind
right?
of got that mentality.
Someday we'll be those old school guys and carry that same tradition over maybe to the next generation, because, God, they need it, don't they? Man, oh, man, there's some soft lifters coming up right now.
Yeah, the new generation, man. You just can't, you can't say anything without hurting nobody's feelings.
You can't do anything
without hurting people's feelings. And that's why I'm like, if you don't like what I say, I'm sorry. I'm going to stay authentic. I'm not going to really change who I am.
Yeah, amen to that. You certainly project that too, and anything I see you do or say, and it follows suit for sure, So you did the whole bodybuilding thing, and I saw it. You look good. You're pretty light. What'd you go on stage at?
195.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but you're a shorter guy, so you carry the muscle pretty well. Yeah. You look heavier than you probably. You appear to be about 220 to me on stage, but that's bodybuilding, right?
Yeah,
I mean, under the lights and the illusion of it. So you accomplished that. But you said to me before the show started, that was kind of it. You said, did your thing, and time to get back onto what you do best, and that's throw around some heavy weight, right?
It just, man, I just looked at it, and I was just like, I don't want to do the drugs. I don't want to do the dieting. I was getting off stage, just like families trying to celebrate, and I'm just like, I'm exhausted. I want to eat. Like, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? And before my competition, my last bodybuilding competition, got invited to a deadlift competition. About 6 weeks out, I was sitting at 205, and I deadlifted 735.
And this is just after the bodybuilding?
Before the
Oh,
bodybuilding.
you were in prep.
Yeah, I was on
Okay,
prep,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and I didn't post it because I didn't want French to yell at me. So I was like, hey, French, I'm going to get, a free membership if I win this. So he's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
I'll let you do this. Don't do nothing else, though. I'm like, all right. So I deadlifted 735, and I got a free year membership at the gym, and everybody's like, man, you need to powerlift. I'm like, no, I love bodybuilding. And after that bodybuilding show, I was like, you know what? Let me give this a try.
Good move, man. Yeah, 735, you said?
Yeah.
At 205.
At 205.
Yeah, I'd say you're built for powerlifting. Yeah, you can't give that talent up.
No
way.
No.
There's this weird stigma in fitness that like bodybuilding doesn't translate to strength, and I don't know why that is. People think that hypertrophy training doesn't translate to actual strength, and maybe it doesn't optimally, but it absolutely does. I've worked out with a lot of bodybuilders that have come in and powerlifted with me, and I went, motherfucker, you should powerlift.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
I don't know. That's I kind of wonder where this like idea came from that like bodybuilders aren't strong.
Bodybuilders are crazy strong.
I know. Everybody that does it knows that, but everybody that doesn't.
The best bodybuilders in the world right now. You got Chris Bumstead. You got the new guy coming in. What's his name? Nick.
Yeah.
Oh, Nick Walker.
Yeah,
Nick Walker.
The way they lift is
monster,
kind of very similar to powerlifters. And when you bodybuild, you kind of learn that mind-muscle connection, and you learn how to lock in every muscle to push the most weight. You know.
I think maybe the stigma was just attached to it because it was a little bit more of a...
Because it's done for aesthetic.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't need to lift heavy to be a bodybuilder.
You don't have to.
No.
Right.
No.
But like you said, there are a lot more bodybuilders now even that lift that way. Like we have bodybuilding friends that, follow West Side's conjugate method during prep. True. They lift heavy. So
what was the biggest difference between your bodybuilding, I guess, routines or your programming compared to your powerlifting now? Did you carry anything over to, or was it a complete flip of a switch?
Completely different. It's a night and day thing. We don't train to exhaust a muscle anymore. We train to hit numbers. We train to execute lifts, and we do accessories to improve my top lifts, which is squats, bench, and deadlift. So everything I do is focused on that and helping me be optimal when I have my meet days to push as much as I can, basically.
What are those accessories? Do you have like a core few of them that you stick with that you find that are probably, I shouldn't say more important than anything else, but when you talk about your accessories, because we know what the big three are, we know the different variations of those. What are the accessories that have taken you kind of to where you're at now?
So, for example, like I had a problem kind of with my shoulders doing a couple of movements with chest. So we started, I struggle on the lockout, right? Where most people struggle, where you need your triceps and drive. So we started doing floor presses. We added that as an accessory.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't understand, like, your main bench day is just one day. Everything else, I bench 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And I deadlift twice and I squat 3 times. So I only have one main day a week for each lift.
Which is your bench day.
Yeah.
And then the other days are your accessory days.
All accessories.
Right, gotcha.
And my accessories can go for bench, basically floor presses. I do 3-second pauses, benches, and then I do dumbbells.
Gotcha.
That's about
Very simple.
Very simple.
Yeah.
Deadlifts is basically rows. I do RDLs, SLDL, which is stuff like deadlifts.
Yep.
And sometimes I do conventional because I'm a sumo puller.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's about it. Very simple.
Yeah, not overcomplicated at all.
Nothing
Takes the thinking right out of it.
Yeah, and I love my coach because he kind of listens, and whatever I tell him, like, hey, this is bugging me, this is not really working, we adjust it right away.
How's the recovery, though? I mean, the first thing a guy's going to say or ask when they hear that kind of programming, because you're benching and deadlifting and squatting basically, every other day or so every day. Yeah. How's the recovery, and how do you manage that?
You recover better than bodybuilding, honestly.
Because you're not going to complete exhaustion.
You're training to peak performance.
Yes, what your training is, you go through RPEs is what my programming is based off of, and every week we kind of up it. We go through blocks, and then we go start all over down, go back down, let the body kind of reset.
Right.
And usually at the end when you're peaking, for a meet or anything like that, that's when you really feel the exhaustion
Yeah.
of your muscles kind of like, yo, I need to rest a little bit. But that's when you push the most.
So you get a little bit of listen to your body methodology comes into play on maybe
Yeah.
a longer periodization type of training where
Yeah.
you throw it in where you need to throw it in.
Yeah, sometimes like yesterday I had an RPE about 7.5, and sometimes my body can push a little bit more. Sometimes my body's like, no, I'm not having it. So you
Yeah.
kind of listen to your body and push what you could with what you got.
So you've dialed in your RPEs pretty well. We've had this conversation a lot, right? Because
Yeah.
as you probably know, it gets a little maddening with the way people use RPE.
Yeah.
It's not real in a lot of cases because guys don't know what 9s are. They don't know what 6s are.
True.
They fabricate this based off of how much they want to put into the lift.
True.
We made this comment the other day. I think we were talking to Taylor Gone, and you might know who Taylor is. He's a big trainer. A lot of guys don't know what puking is until they've puked. So that's a 10, right? Or 11, let's say.
True.
So how did you discover that in yourself? I mean, was it who's your coach, by the way?
His name is Joe Game Day. He's out of
Okay.
Austin, Texas.
Okay.
His last name's Game Day.
No, his
Oh,
gym
okay.
is Game Day. His last name is Stang.
I was like, what a fucking great name.
He owns a gym called Game Day. His
Okay.
Instagram is Joe Game Day.
Okay.
So I always call him that. Everybody knows him off of that. But
Yeah.
it's Joe Stank.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So did he help you develop your RPE? I guess what I'm getting at is RPE is best used like in a 2-man RPE, right? Because
Yeah.
you get to know somebody. You say, oh, no. We know where you're at. This may not where you think you're at, but this is where I know you're at.
Yeah, so I would basically send him. In the beginning, I was undershooting everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I first started, I got him as a coach last year in February, before my first meet in April.
Yeah.
2 months before my meet. And I'm like, hey, I want to win this meet. He's like, that's a really short time to win. And I'm like, I think you can coach me to do it. And that's when we got together. And I started undershooting everything. And he's like, you need to push a little bit.
Okay.
I'm like, oh, okay. So I started pushing. I was over pushing. We're like, all right, let's take
Right.
it down a notch a little bit. So it was kind of trial and error. With time, we kind of figured it
Yeah,
out.
kind of dial it in a little
Yep.
bit. So
Yep.
so you would agree then that 2-man sort of detective work is necessary sometimes. Else you might still sort of be floating around in RPEs. Maybe you don't know where you're at or where you should be.
Very
kind of
true.
thing. Yeah,
Very true.
That's interesting, because it's all this programming now and all this knowledge we get in from, well, it's everywhere, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it can be confusing at times because guys don't want to give or girls don't want to give programming its chance to work
Yeah.
or work through the idea of trying to figure out how to make it work. Did you jump around a bit in the beginning? Was there things that you did? Well, we can all say there's things we did that we probably wouldn't do today, but some of the bigger changes that you made, can you identify some of those that you thought, okay, this is what really took me to this next level of strength as opposed to maybe just going through the whole training programming of it?
Before I got my coach, I was just flowing, kind of just pushing my body.
Gotcha.
Oh, I feel good today. Let me push some heavy weight, And I wouldn't push on a regular. I would make it every 3 weeks. I would test my strength. And then when I decided I wanted to compete, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do this alone. I need somebody with guidance, somebody to hold me back so I don't push too much. I don't push too little. I need somebody to get me up there. And I have the potential to be the best in the world, with the right guidance, obviously. And that's when I got my coach, and that was a big game changer.
Yeah.
And I just committed. I'm like, I'm not going to play games. Whatever you need me to do, I'll do,
Right.
I'm not going to question your programming. I'm just going to go full throttle.
Yeah, take the thinking right out of it. I'm your guy. Let's just do it. Get it done.
Yeah, when you connect to somebody, you just know. And I've talked to 3 coaches before him, and it just didn't feel right, And I'm like, give me time. With him, it instantly clicked.
Yeah.
Instantly, like we talked and we had a Zoom call, and from there it was just like, yep, let's get it going. Let's get the ball rolling.
Proof's in the pudding. I mean, so far so good, right?
Oh, yeah.
What organization? I was looking at some of your videos the other day. I'm trying to peg the organizations that you live for. Who are they?
USPA.
USPA. Okay. Yeah, I didn't quite pick that up. I didn't know if it was USPA, and I guess that would be the only.
I've only
one,
done
right?
2 meets, so
APF.
I've only
APF,
done 2.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were both at Search to New Levels in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My first one was in April. I totaled 1956.
Yep.
And that put me in top 20, I believe, that year, or top 15, somewhere there. And then I competed. After that, I got my pro card. And then
Yeah.
I competed in my first pro meet in October, and I totaled over 2,000.
Yeah, 2025, I think, right?
15.
15. Yeah.
Is that raw raps?
Yeah, raw.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't do raps.
No, I saw that. Yeah, I saw
I'm
that
not a
video.
rap guy either.
I can't do
I
that.
saw the 800 squat. It looked good.
It did.
That
It
white
was,
light,
it was
man.
hard, though.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this hurts.
That's a lot going down in that pressure, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love the fact you're raw, man. I think that's obviously that's always cool, right? When we
Yeah.
say we're doing a 2,000-pound total raw. And I can say I've never touched those numbers. I think maybe 1900 and some change back raw. And, but I was much heavier. I mean, you're only a 110 kilo guy.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're really getting the most out of your frame right now. I mean, we're almost 7.5 times body weight.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's world class, man.
Yeah, thank you.
So where are you going from here?
So right now I'm training. Obviously, I graduate school in May, so
Yeah.
I did not want to put the pressure of trying to compete and graduate at the same time. So we're programming to basically compete in October, and we're pushing. I want to total at least about 2,100 in around Mayish, and then I want to total break the world record in October.
Where are you getting your numbers from? I mean, what are you looking at that 215 now? You're going 2100. I know in a powerlifter's mindset, you want it from everywhere, right?
Yeah,
you know you got some in the pocket somewhere.
Yeah, what I like about my body is I'm a total lifter. So I squat heavy, I bench heavy, and I deadlift heavy. So I don't really have a missing part where I lack, where I need to catch up in another lift, you know. Yeah. So it's funny because of me, I totaled 2K, I went 6 out of 9.
Yeah.
And I missed 2 of my deadlifts, and I had a groin injury as well during that meet.
Yeah.
And that's why I only deadlifted 727 instead of my best. Which
yeah. You know, I saw that. And
over
I thought,
800.
Well, he's well over 800 in training.
Yeah.
So, well, there it is then. You know, it's coming out of your pocket next week.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to total 2210, 2220, somewhere there.
Wow.
Yeah. And I want all my lifts, honestly, to go up there.
And then you said you're going to break the world record. Total?
Yes.
Raw?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's 1,000 kgs, 2205.
Yeah. Who's holding that right now?
Jamal Browner.
Oh, that's right.
He competes in a couple weeks. So hopefully he doesn't.
Hopefully he doesn't raise it.
Doesn't make it go higher.
I hope he does raise it. Yeah.
Hey, he'll add a little spice.
That's
to
right.
the
I want a little spice.
You know what it is?
Yeah.
If he does raise it, that guarantees you break it. Because I can already tell the mentality of you as a person.
Yeah, I'm a
if
competitive
you jump that
person.
number, motherfucker, I'm coming after it.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's always fun to see that type of competition at a higher level too. You know, I'm never one to like to see a record that just holds, man. I want to see guys chasing each other, you know, breaking it.
It's more fun. It's more fun being competitive, and that's what I love about it. That's why I bring the energy to the meets. That's why I bring my celebrations.
You're the showman.
And I love it. It's just, a lot of people are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, I'm very composed before I lift because I get all my energy into the lift, but some energy still stays over after I finish my lift, so I got to let it out, you know?
Got to get rid of it.
Literally.
Yeah. I think there's 2 things that kind of always brought my attention to you. A was that muffin, man. I mean, where do you buy your muffins at, first off?
When I'm in Michigan, Tim Hortons, and then when I'm in Chicago, Starbucks.
Yeah, I know you got your place to go because he's always got this muffin on his way to working out, you know, the Muffin Man or whatever.
Yeah.
That was always fun watching you do that. But really the most entertaining thing was your dancing, you know. And it's not entertaining because I think you're a good dancer, you know, but you are a good dancer.
Not a good singer.
That's why I do it.
But I can see that energy like you're talking about. That's what I see. It's like, man, it's just like, just fucking get it out of me, you know, like it's coming.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see it building up in you. And you bring that to the platform with you, which I think is cool, even in competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if I'm having a bad day, bad lift, and one thing I really go about is clearing my mind, and that's one way I clear my mind is, you know, my muffin puff, my dancing, my music before, you know, my drive, that 20-minute drive to the gym. That's clear my mind to get ready to lift. You know, I got a mission to accomplish, and that's how I do it every time. You know, walk through that door, everything's out the mind.
Yeah, you have a your kind of self-programming there is like spot on. There's no question about it. I mean, your routine is, I mean, it's direct and to the point in how you've programmed yourself to get ready to lift. You tend to jump around to a lot of facilities though, don't you?
Yeah.
So how is that in your training? Is that a part of your training because you want to jump to these facilities to give yourself a different sort of atmosphere or personnel, or why do you do that? A lot of guys don't do that.
I do that out here in Michigan because it depends on the time of day and what I got to train.
Okay.
You know, and I actually have some of my own equipment that I take with me to certain gyms in Michigan.
Okay.
Because they don't have that one powerlifting gym where I can just go and have the space that I got. Like in Chicago, it's just my one gym. You know, I got everything I need there. All my spotters out there. If I squat anything over 700, I got people I can have there for me. Over here, it's kind of like wherever the workout takes me, I'll go.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because I think, you know, after you know, like I said, checking you out for a while, you always seem to be in a different facility. Yeah. And I thought there was a method to that madness a little bit.
Yeah. It depends on my workout. Sometimes I have a, you know, high bar squat, you know, with legs, and that I could go to any kind of gym.
Right.
Because I need adductors to strengthen my hips because we're trying to make sure my groin is good enough to carry 800 and above deadlift. And Sometimes I do arms. That's where I also go to a commercial gym and use machines and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then when I need to squat, I need my squat bar. So I'm sticking to my kilos.
Well, you need your spotters too in some of these bigger lifts
Yeah,
too, no doubt about it.
Yeah. Yesterday I had no spotters, but Jesus got me.
Yeah,
Listen, I got Jesus on the flag in my gym.
You know
Jesus
what else
is my
gets them?
spotter.
What else gets them? Everybody in that gym with their jaw on the floor, and he knows it. And they're all staring at him when the music
Yeah.
stops,
Hey,
and he's
bro.
in the middle of that lift.
Yeah.
There's a certain entertainment value that comes out of
It
that.
is. It is. It's
for
funny.
sure.
It's always interesting the way people look at you. Because when you're around a lot of strong guys, it's kind of a normal thing nowadays. But
That's
when
right,
you're
yeah.
when
you
you're
go
at
to a
normal
commercial gym, yeah.
people looking at you like
Yeah.
you're somebody huge.
You put 500 pounds on the squat bar and everybody loses their mind.
Oh, yeah.
They're like,
Yesterday I had people asking me for pictures after they saw me. I squatted
that's great.
725.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I'm like, yeah, cool. I don't mind taking pictures.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that special yet,
Right.
but
Yeah, you're a
that's
humble
pretty
guy.
cool.
You're a
well, you
humble
know
guy.
what though? Like that's part of. Let's be honest. Like I power lift. I like to get strong. I like to lift heavy weights, but I kind of like to show off a little bit. So I don't mind going to a commercial gym and having people go.
No.
Watch me when I.
What is that? Planet Fitness?
Yeah, basically, because I'm a small guy. I deadlift on the Smith machine at Planet Fitness. Everyone loses their
You bench
mind.
press 405. I was at 405. Yeah.
Confused.
Yeah. Oh shit. How about your maintenance program, man? I mean, you as much as you train, you got your coaching in, your program is right on, your attitude's spot on. Your pre-prep to going into your training and your meets is spot on. You can't tell me you don't have a lot of aches and pains throwing that kind of weight up. But coming from a medical background, you got to be one of those guys that utilizes a wealth of maintenance type stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. I have. You can talk for him.
Yeah. No. Sing a song.
He got thirsty right on the question. Honestly, I'm very lucky because I have a perfect circle around me. Where people from my nutrition to my massage therapist, who's also my best friend.
M3, right? Is that? Yeah. Okay.
Rachel.
Yeah.
Shout out to her.
Yeah.
And I'm just so lucky to have her on my side, man.
bet.
Like whenever I call her, whenever I need her, and she works with NFL players now.
Yeah.
So for me to call her and just have her on the spot like that, I'm like, I'm not no NFL player,
Right.
but it's cool to have her on my side, and
Yeah.
she's somebody that understands my body. And whenever I get hurt or aches and pain or anything is bothering me, I literally tell her, and it's one touch, one fix kind of thing,
She's from Detroit, though. M3 Detroit, right?
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken, I follow her on Instagram as well. Yeah, that's pretty special. What about Chicago? I mean, does she come out to see you and hang out a bit?
She came out to my
great.
meet. She comes out, about a couple of days before my meet, works on me, helps
great.
me out.
Yeah.
During my meet, she works on me if anything is bothering me, stretches me out.
So you're regimented then, for sure.
Yeah.
What about your other maintenance type stuff? Anything that you do? Maybe I know meditation's big for a lot of guys these days. You kind of do that on your training prep, and that sort of thing. Are there anything else that you use that you find that is kind of working real well for you that you would share with other people if they ask, hey, what can I do to?
Also, I have a good friend of mine who's a PT,
Okay.
and I also get that work,
Right.
and I also use my Theragun. You got cupping, ice, cryotherapy,
Got it.
all those things, stretching, and honestly, resting.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't rest, and that's my number one thing. When people are like, "Let's go out, let's do this," I'm like, "I gotta lift tomorrow. I gotta do this. I gotta
Right.
do certain things." So I'm gonna rest all my body that I could.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're right. That's kind of forgotten, and especially with younger lifters, right? I mean, they're always racing to the weekend.
Yeah.
I get my lifts in, racing to the weekend. There's no rest. Of course, you didn't rest last night. You texted me at 2:30 in the morning.
My sleep is a little messed up out here in
Listen,
Michigan.
sleep and rest are not the same.
Okay.
I was laying down, but
I woke up this morning. I said, "Where was this fucker at 2:30 in the morning?" Yeah.
I was in bed trying to sleep.
Yeah. I was at the strip club, by the way, last night.
Were you?
Well, Jeremiah, he works.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he invited me up, and I'm just checking out the scene a little bit.
That's
but,
cool. Thanks for the invite.
It's next time I'll remember that you
that's
actually go out. It's not usually my thing, but it's kind of I can fit it into the gym life, right? These.
Oh God, here we go.
What do you mean? These girls work out hard to be up there. I
Jesus.
just support the gym life. That's all. Anyhow, yeah, I saw I saw it as well. He was out late last night, but I'm glad to see that you're resting, even when you're resting. Right, you're back home.
Yeah, my sleep is a little messed up whenever I get a little heavier.
Yeah.
And whenever I travel and come out here.
Right.
My parents' house isn't the coldest. They like it at like 70. I like my apartment at like 67, 66.
Gotcha.
With my fan and it's cold,
Right.
sleep
It's
better.
tough to kind of get back in
Yeah,
the routine, isn't
yeah,
it?
so-
Even though it's your old bed, it just
Right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just, you can't.
What nationality are you?
I'm Iraqi.
Iraqi.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I was going to say you eat well at your parents' house, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
My mom loves to cook.
Oh, man. Yeah.
She loves to cook.
Yeah, that's
You know?
awesome. I love good Middle Eastern food, man.
You should have told me. I would have brought you some.
I
We're
will
the
next
same,
time. I'm
man.
going to hold you to that,
Yeah,
man.
let me
Honestly,
know.
I just went out last night to Bottle West. As a matter
I love
of fact.
Bottle
Oh,
West, too.
shit,
You
man.
got to drive a Dearborn.
Oh yeah, well you know my family's from Dearborn Heights. I'm a Heights
nice.
guy. Well my wife's from Dearborn area. She lives off of Outer Drive and Pelham, right in that general area out there. So yeah, we're down there all the time. So I'll catch up with you sometime when you're in town for sure, and
sure.
I'll take you up on that. I will
bet.
take you up.
I'll
on
take
that.
you to some good places.
Yeah, I bet you will. Yeah, it's my favorite place down there, man. All day long.
All the
Hang
food.
out.
Then we'll get a workout in here where you can just do whatever you want.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll love it. I'm down.
Yeah.
Call me up. I'll come out here and
Some
put on a
shit.
show for you
Oh,
guys.
perfect.
So
I don't
talking
mind.
about your heritage a little bit. I had mentioned to you before the show started. I saw a really cool podcast that you were. It was a buddy. You mentioned it was a buddy's podcast, but what I really liked about it, man, is you were talking about your heritage and your story about your grandfather, right?
Yeah.
And that's just so inspiring to me. I mean, you mentioned he's your biggest inspiration.
Yeah. My father.
Your father.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense. And your
Yeah.
father, right? It
Yep.
goes on right on down the
Yeah,
line.
yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how that all came about? Because you're second generation here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm the first generation.
You're first.
So your dad
your
came
dad.
from-
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't born here.
Oh.
Oh, shit.
So no, I guess none of us are generations here.
I don't know.
I don't know how you.
I don't know how
do
that
that.
works.
I don't know how that works
Yeah.
either.
Yeah, that's interesting. No shit.
But I wasn't born here. I came here when I was 11 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, but I grew up in Iraq. My dad is inspires me and motivates me a lot because he probably had one of the hardest lives I've ever
I can imagine.
witnessed. Living in a country where you basically his mom doesn't read, right? Doesn't know anything. He had nothing basically growing up. His dad died when he was 1 year old because he jumped off the train because the trains back in the day don't stop, and his shirt got caught in the door, and he went right under the train. So his dad passed away at 1 year old, so he had no father. And then they grew up in mud houses. There was no electricity, and he went to school. When it rains, he's sleeping in the water in the mud, and then he grew up to become a doctor. And
Wow.
yeah, he would stay studying, light up a candle, and basically sit and read, and all the money that he would work for, he would give it to his mom, trying to support her for food and stuff like that. And then to be able to do that, become a doctor, the first doctor in his city. I always tell him they should build a statue of you out there in
yeah.
Iraq,
There's a story to be told there
Yeah,
for sure.
And then we ran away from war
Yep.
to Syria. And we
Okay.
stayed there for 8 years. We lived in an apartment of 1 bedroom, 1 living room, 6
Yeah.
people of us, and we would sleep on the floor.
And you remember a lot of this.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
Syria. I don't remember Iraq.
Yeah.
I was young.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
When
Syria
was
I
that?
remember. This was we left in 1997.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, so in Syria I remember all of it. And my dad, one thing that I loved about him is he never let us feel that we were poor or we didn't have anything. Like food was always there.
Right.
Whatever we wanted to buy for school, he bought it.
He figured it out.
Yeah, we did not know he was struggling
Right.
ever, you know. And now we grew up, and he kind of tells us the stories, and
Right.
we're like, wow, that's insane,
Yeah.
And then from there we got lucky, and we came to the States in 2005.
Man.
And he
I
finished-
love hearing those stories, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
finished his
honest to God.
degree, and same thing. We were living off of Foodistan
Yeah.
out here, and now he's a very good
So
doctor.
he finished his degree here.
Yeah, he's a doctor now, and
Wow.
well, he was already a doctor.
Right.
Yeah, in Iraq, but you have to
You have to come over here and do
recertify,
the crap here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have another friend of mine, actually a couple friends of mine from over there. Same thing. Their families doctors, and
Yeah.
so they were doctors over there. They had to come over here, not like redo medical school, but they had to do like different certification of some sort of residency again.
Yeah, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, I
exactly
mean, the
that.
inspiration anybody can get from stories like that, right? I mean, it's almost like you look at kind of the way things are today, and I don't want to get off gym life, but in general, it's hard to feel sorry for people that are in way better situations,
Yeah.
that are complaining about way or shit that doesn't mean nearly as much.
True.
When you hear stories like what your dad went through
Yeah.
to make sure you're where you're at today.
Yeah.
I mean, more people need to hear stories like that. That's all I'm saying.
It makes I'll tell you it makes it hard sometimes because when somebody comes and complains to you about their emergency,
Yeah.
you're like, motherfucker, you're out of hot dogs. That's not an emergency.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like it's hard to empathize with that sometimes, which is,
Yeah, I mean, you
not
try to still, right? Because that's
everyone's
being a
struggle
good
is
person,
different for
right.
sure, right? So
True.
like, I shouldn't downplay anybody's struggle,
True.
but sometimes I'm like, motherfucker, that ain't a struggle.
Yeah, imagine what your
It's
dad
an easy
went
fix.
Yeah.
Pretty easy. Yeah,
I agree. That's one thing I kind of live off of, and a lot of people are like, "What are you thankful for?" And I'm like, "My parents giving me a chance to live here in the States." And a lot of people are like, "You never have any like negative moments. You don't have." I'm like, everybody kind of has negative
yeah.
moments, but I'm so like thankful for the life that I have every day. I wake up having electricity, having water.
Right.
You know,
I didn't have to sleep in the
yeah,
mud.
You know what I'm saying? Electricity doesn't just turn off out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you're sitting in 120-degree weather, sweating in your house.
And that shit's hot, bro.
Oh yeah, in a desert, it's not
easy
fun.
to find your motivation, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, and be grateful. Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure.
And
First
that's why I have
foremost.
no fear lifting.
No, well, hey, listen, man.
Yeah, this is easy.
Yeah, this is, walk in the park.
And that you're damn good at it too.
Literally.
That helps, man.
Yeah,
That natural
I try.
talent you have. I mean, you're built like a brick shit house. I mean, there's just everything about you that screams power lifter. And then you put the right attitude in with that, because that's what it takes. Hey, there's a lot of great athletes out there. We can agree to that.
I agree.
And a lot of them will fall this way or they fall this way. And you don't hear about half of them that you should have heard about because they don't have this right.
True.
And there's no doubt that, Sam, you got that going on for you.
Thank you.
Very cool. So you're brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got an older brother, older sister, and a younger sister.
Yeah. Sports and athletics like you, lifting?
I mean, my brother, he played soccer his
Yeah.
whole life.
Okay.
He still does. He's 6'2".
Okay.
So
Jesus, what happened to you?
I don't know, man. They messed up. But I ain't complaining because I'm the perfect height.
That's right.
For my
That's a
lifting.
power lift.
Yeah,
That's
I'll
a power
take
lift.
it. I'll take it.
Yeah.
My uncles all play sports. And my mom played sports.
Yeah.
My mom's brothers all played. Also, he played. One of my uncles is 6'8", played
Jeez.
international volleyball player.
Wow. No
Yeah.
kidding. Are they all stateside now, or you got a lot of family back?
No, I
in
got
the
a lot
Middle
of
East?
family back there.
Do you? You
None
ever
of
get-
my dad's side is out here. They're all
Oh,
in
okay.
Iraq. Yeah.
You get back much at all, or?
I haven't been there since about 2018.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, but
it's-
you guys
it's
make a
harder.
point to maybe try to. It's a little harder now.
Yeah,
of
it's
course.
harder to go out there with Corona and stuff.
Yeah.
And all those complications.
Everything
now.
else going on.
Yeah, it's not as easy to just be out there.
Yeah.
It's a 14-hour flight. So
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
it's
But you're finishing up your degree in nursing right now, so you're kind of taking your father's path a bit.
Yeah.
Are you specializing in anything?
I want to do ICU probably after
Okay.
that for a couple of years, and then probably go NP school.
Yeah.
Work with my dad in a clinic.
Yeah. When you're
That'd be
done being a pro power lifter, you can do this forever.
No, I'll retire at some point.
Yeah.
I want to retire on top. I don't want to get injured and be out, or
Yeah.
one of those guys, falls off.
Yeah.
I want to retire when I'm on top. So.
You hear that story a lot. We had Pam Grishak in the other day, who's a good friend of ours, and she was at a national show back in the day, and took second or something, and said, I was ready to call it quits. She got talked into that one last show, and she shit the bed.
Yeah.
And it was just like not, wanting to finish on top, I think,
Yeah.
especially in sports like lifting sports.
I agree.
Because honestly, I mean, there's not a lot of give back from these sports other than the
Yeah.
people you meet and the accolades maybe you get from your personal self, right?
True.
But you've got these goals in mind, which are great. But it sounds like to me, you're 20.
27.
Yeah, so there's a lot of wax
We
on
still got
that
some
candle
time.
left.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we still got some time.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Have you ever thought about doing strongman? I got to ask you.
Yes. It's
Good.
funny because everybody's asking me that.
Well, because everybody's crossing over these days.
Yeah,
Yes.
Strongman's got a new groundswell again.
It
and it's
is.
becoming very popular again.
Yes.
So
Yeah, it seems to be, and we're glad to see it, right? Because anything in the lifting community and the strength community, man, we all support one another, and everything kind of goes together.
Yeah.
Of course, you can't sumo and strongman now.
No, I don't like conventional
Yeah.
at all.
Oh, you don't? Good.
No.
Because I make fun of sumo sometimes. I'm sure you did too, right?
Hey, I do too.
Yeah.
listen,
Yeah.
It's a cheat code.
It is a
what I
cheat
call
code.
it.
Yeah,
It's a
okay, I
cheat
like
code,
that. I
yeah.
like that.
all sumo pullers conventional too.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
conventional pullers that don't sumo. That's the problem.
That you're right. I guess in
Conventional
hindsight-
pullers can't sumo.
Yeah, they can.
Sumo pullers can conventional.
Oh, that is so true. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've conventional 804.
I've seen your conventional.
Okay.
Yeah, you're a good conventional.
Yeah.
I just wondered because I know your sumo, because you're approaching 900 now in your sumo, so it's a
Yeah.
no-brainer. I mean, if the rules stay the way they are, you got to do
do
what's
it.
right. Right, cheat code.
Exactly.
I like that.
Take every advantage the rules give you.
Exactly. And it puts less stress on my lower back. I can squat more.
Oh, without a doubt, longevity's big. It lends to all your other lifts and keeps you in good shape. Yeah, I guess
If you white
yeah,
stand
see.
squat, sumo's perfect.
All right,
It's the
I
same
just
muscle
don't-
group.
Every day I struggle with this.
Now you're gonna become sumo camp
I
again.
can't. Yeah.
You pull sumo?
I did for a year. I switched back to conventional. I tend to be stronger actually conventional. I pulled sumo for a year. and it helped translate over into my squat a lot because I wide stance squat.
Okay.
But I'm switching back to conventional. It puts a little bit too much stress on my knee.
Okay.
Sumo and wide stance squat, so I have to I have to change one of them. But
That needs becoming a strongman now.
Oh, nice.
well, I am going to compete all year this year in strongman. Actually, not going to powerlift this year. I'm going to compete all year in strongman.
I like strongman. I have a lot of strongman friends.
Yeah, and then next year I'll be eligible for masters powerlifting. So then I'll go back to powerlifting
And break all the records.
and just fuck up the
Don't
masters.
tell him that shit, Sam. Honest to God, you're just feeding
Wipe
into
it
his
out.
fucking delusion right now.
Bust the masters world record.
Here we go. Oh shit.
Hey, the masters are getting pretty tough
Bro,
out there.
I
They're
say that
all
all the
getting
time.
there,
yeah.
Because all the masters are guys like you and everybody
Yeah,
else that
they're
are just
turning
in masters now.
masters.
You know,
Yeah,
it's not like
that's
you're getting a
insane.
weaker class.
I know,
These
for
guys are
sure.
killing it,
Yeah, they're
and in
strong
large
guys.
part because of all the maintenance and information and everything we know now we can put into our basket of goodies.
Yep.
Man, guys are competing well into their 40s and 50s.
Oh, yeah.
And then some.
Oh, yeah.
And it's pretty amazing to me. It gives you hope, right? Because
It
if you
does.
do decide that you're going to stick around an extra 20 or 30 years,
Okay.
yeah, you know you can get it done.
I don't know if I'll stick 20 years. But
Don't tell me
There's
that.
there's two camps. There's people that want to go out on top, and there's people that are going to die under the
I would
bar.
always lift.
Yeah,
I'll always
yeah.
lift
That-
for
okay, that's what
for
I'm
the rest
saying.
of my life.
Yep.
I'll lift. You know,
You'll
but
be
will
like
I
Rocky, man.
Will I be
Yeah.
squatting 700 pounds? You know, at 40 years old? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say no because I don't. My mind might be a little different at 40 years
I don't
old.
know.
but-
Judging by what
You'll realize at 40 that you're still fucking young.
You know
That's
what'll
what-
happen?
yeah.
He'll give it up for a couple years, and he'll just be in the gym. There'll be some young guys over there on the bench, and he'll just make his way. He'll kind of inch over with the dumbbells, and before you know it, you're back into it.
No,
again.
what'll
Benching
happen-
500 again.
There'll be
Okay.
some kids in the squat rack. He'll just start loading plates. They'll stop. He'll just casually squat 700 and walk
it's just
away.
like
I'll be able to tell that story
Rocky
when
Six
I was
comes
your
around.
age.
Yeah. Rocky didn't think he'd fight again. He
Yeah.
fought again.
There
You know,
you
did
go,
great. So, yeah. What about your support group? You know, we talk about your best friend M3. What's her name again?
Rachel.
Rachel. So you got Rachel. We know that's your part of your maintenance and your support group, obviously. But coming up through powerlifting now, and coming up through lifting in general, is there a group? Who are the people that kind of you remember that you can say, hey, this guy and that guy kind of? We talked about old school, right? The guys like that were in your life, no doubt, because that's where you come to appreciate them. I mean, who were those guys, and who are the guys now in your powerlifting scene that you kind of gravitate towards for information and just sort of supporting one another?
Growing up, my brother, you always have that competitive nature with your brother. You're trying to outdo him. He's trying to outdo you. We always got into it.
Yeah.
I was a better athlete than
This
he
is your 6'3" brother?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I was a better athlete than
Yeah.
him, so we would always get into it. And my uncle, he always, took the time to teach me and take the time out of his day to show me the ways and stuff like that. And then people at the gym, honestly, Clark, McGrizzle.
Yeah, that's your partner.
Yep.
We'll talk about that
in
in a
my
minute.
podcast.
Yeah,
So he's like my brother now. And then my best friends, everybody around from now, like you got Ed, he broke the bench world record
Yeah.
at my last meet. You got people in my gym, John, Tim, the owner, Serge.
What gym? What's your gym in Chicago?
Surge to New Levels.
Surge to New Levels.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
Serge is the owner, and he's 29 years old, and he's
Okay.
one of the coolest owners
Yeah.
that I've ever met.
Nice facility. So you got a
Very
lot of
nice.
competitors coming out of that
Oh
facility.
yeah. I think it's probably one of the toughest gyms,
Yeah.
if not the toughest gym. in
And
the
when we're
States
talking
nowadays.
gym was one thing, but toughest gyms, you got a lot of badass dudes coming out of that gym.
Yeah,
is
you
what you're
got
saying.
a lot of people squatting over 800, people benching over 500, and people deadlifting over 800.
Yeah.
So you got a very good handful of guys who can lift.
Yeah,
and
it's
there's
like-
no ego
Right.
whatsoever, and that's what I love about powerlifting. When you compare it to bodybuilding, is we all support each other. We all lift together.
Right.
We all spot each other. We're all like, "Come on, you got to get this lift," and we all celebrate together. You know, so it's kind of cool.
No secrets, man. It's like,
No.
I'm not telling you what gear I'm taking and shit, 'cause I don't want you to look like I look and all that.
No.
Tell me about your protocols. Can we talk about that?
Sure,
A little bit.
I run GH
Yeah.
at 2 IUs.
Okay.
Just for my joints and everything
Sure,
like
sure.
that.
Yep.
And then all I do is take tests at 500.
Less is better.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
When we talked about bodybuilding, how you didn't like that side of things, this is a real simple way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't like to push drugs. A lot of people think I do, but when you look at my skin, you can kind of tell. People's skin, the way they
Yeah,
sweat,
sure, sure.
all those things. Their
Yeah.
face, their acne.
Yeah.
All those things kind of give it away.
Right.
And when you look at mine, I look at like a very normal guy, just a little bit fluffier.
Yeah.
Bigger.
Well, that's powerlifter, right?
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
You got a little calories in there.
And I don't want to run out already. I'm 27.
Yeah.
I'm young. I don't need to be pushing drugs like
No.
Right.
I'm at and 30s, you know, and I need to get up there real quick.
You're old like me.
Is there a contest? You know, that's sort of like the staple of it all. Is there a contest prep that you do that changes between you and your coach when you're ready for a contest, or you kind of just run, you know, your protocols the same and just sort of, you know?
I keep it the same because I don't want to have those bursts of strength.
Yeah.
As long as I'm progressing, we don't really change anything.
Got it. Yeah.
You know, so
and that's a smart way to do it, honestly.
Yeah.
You're not, so you're not smashing D-ball and Halo the week before the competition.
No. I see it at the meets. I see it.
It's still there.
Yeah,
it's still there.
They all do it, but I like my mental space. I don't like to lose myself, you know, and that's why everybody sees me being happy and stuff like that. And I never want to change that. You know, I don't want to lose myself and become this druggy guy who's just roided up.
It's not an at all cost mentality. I want to do my best as me as a human, but I want to be a human.
But it also doesn't mean you can't achieve those goals.
No,
either.
for sure.
That's where I think people get
as long
confused,
as I'm progressing, you know,
Right.
and I don't need to push anything crazy.
Right.
I won't push anything crazy, you know, until I hit that point where it's like, all right, we need to push something different.
Yeah.
And add a little, you know.
If it's working, if it's
I
not broke, don't
stopped
fix it.
producing testosterone because I'm 40, and you know
That's me. Yeah. I think, I think when I got tested one time it was like 10. I said, 10? That doesn't make any sense. He's like, no, it doesn't make any sense at all.
you actually should feel like horrible
I do
dog
like
shit.
250 a test, and I got like
I said
400,
around
you know?
800 to 900.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, that's where I try to dial it in
Yeah.
too, right? I get my blood work done about every 3 months, and I know a lot of guys don't, and I always push it on the show, and we don't hide either. We'll talk about anything because any good information you can give some of these young guys out there is good information. But certainly the one thing that I push the most is, man, you got to get in the fucking doctor's office and make sure you're not hurting yourself because this shit isn't life.
No.
It's not, you know?
And I've taken stuff when I did bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And I've had my enzymes go pretty.
Oh, I
crazy.
bet.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm like, nope, I can't do this.
Well, fuck, we see it so much anymore, right? And I asked this question the other day, and do we see it more of these tragedies that take place because we're so much social media and information involved that it's easier to see these things? Or has it always been there? We just didn't know. And I'm curious what your take is on it.
Honestly, I think it's a lot more available now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you couldn't go up to somebody and be like, hey, you got, you know, drugs, you got tests, can I buy?
Right.
You would be scared to ask anybody because it was the black market. Now it's
You can order that shit online.
anywhere.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get it.
Right.
And you got people, you know, at the same time, they're scared to go to the doctor to get tested and see what's going on with their bodies. And then people don't cycle off. You know, and a lot of people that ask me to give them advice, it's like, if you're mentally not stable enough to cycle off of it, you should never play with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you have that downfall,
Yeah.
you know, of your hormones, and you kind of go through about 2 to 3 weeks or 4 weeks where your body's trying to adjust back to normal, and it's not easy to go through.
No, and there's a proper way to do that too.
Yeah.
You know, and certainly we know, and we probably both have made that mistake before. We didn't do it properly. And it sucks ass. It's fucking terrible.
But when you're telling me you're running trend, or you're running, you know,
yeah.
and you feel like a horse, and everything feels like lightweight, and then you come off of it, you're gonna have that little bit of dip of psychological, like, oh man, I'm not feeling that crazy hunger anymore. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think a lot of guys are still fighting with the right way to do these things, and always too much of it. And I think that goes without saying. It's always been around, right, guys? Whether it was readily available or not, the abuse of it always exists because the guys just start in the right camps with the right people and the right information coming their way to do it the right way.
Yeah.
You being in the health business,
Yeah.
that's certainly, first and foremost, is always on top of your mind.
It is
and not just
easier.
with the protocol. Your food and everything is good.
Yes.
Talk about that for a minute.
It is easier because, I mean, I have my dad in my corner.
Yeah.
I'm very open with him. I kind of tell him everything I do. We do blood work together and all that stuff.
Great, yeah.
My nutrition, I actually am sponsored by Choose Fit Nutrition.
Yeah.
So they kind of give me my meals, and I also eat at the same time. I cook my own food. So it's kind of like a nice balance of having 5 to 6 meals a day.
Pretty open with that? I mean, are you a guy that's more calorie deficit or to calorie surplus with your macros? Does that matter, or is it just more about feeding your body?
I'm more of carbs. I need carbs to stay fueled. You know, get the best workout. Because whenever I don't eat carbs or have enough food in me, my workouts are not efficient at all. You die out. You know, so carbs is my main source always. You know,
Right.
to get as much as I can to have the best lifts.
What about your over-the-counter stuff? Is there things that you do kind of to help your body, assist it in recovery, assist it in performance that, you go to GNC and pick up that's a part of your regimen every day?
I take multivitamins, fish oil,
Yeah.
all these vitamins that you take, zinc and vitamin D, vitamin E,
Yeah.
all those things.
Yeah.
I kind of stay on top of it.
Yeah,
It's
just
never-
the baseline kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
There's nothing, no secret, thing that you like out there.
I don't think there's ever a secret
I don't think so
recipe.
either. I just thought I'd
People want a
ask, yeah.
secret answer on like how are
Yeah.
you strong or
Yeah.
how are you lasting and not hurting, and I'm like, you just got to do ABC. It's kind of pretty straightforward.
right.
People just don't want to put the time in.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's
with
the
you.
truth.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Literally.
Everyone's looking for the secret and not, hey, if you do these 3 things consistently,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah.
No, can I just pop a pill and be that?
Yeah.
Well, no,
No.
motherfucker, you can't.
No.
Yeah,
Even if I give you the top drugs in the world,
Yeah.
if you don't put in the work,
yeah.
you ain't.
It doesn't
gonna
matter.
Yeah, you
Doesn't
ain't reaching nothing.
Yeah, it goes without saying in every sport, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's basketball or bodybuilding or powerlifting or other.
Everything.
You got to put the work in, man, and dial it in. Everything's got to be right, including the what we talked about in the beginning, your rest and recovery. And if that's not there, fuck yeah, that's like
Very
one.
true.
That's your 3-legged dog at that point. You're not running real fast.
I'm not a huge Greg Doucette fan, but I watched one of his videos one time and he
Sounds
was
like Gilbert Godfrey. I
he
can't
does
even
sound
listen.
like Gilbert Gottfried. He screams constantly and he's fucking annoying.
Yeah.
But I remember he did one video and he was like, "What? You mean HRT doesn't fucking get up and make my food, and HRT doesn't go to the gym for me, and I thought I could just take HRT and I didn't have to do anything anymore, and I would just be fucking huge, But that's the mentality a lot of people have. They think like, oh, you're taking this, that's why you're strong.
that comes from those
Motherfucker, if I
people,
didn't
yeah.
take that stuff, I'd still squat 750. That made me squat 770. That's what that fucking did.
Literally. It helped my recovery.
Yeah, it helped my recovery.
I really think it's more about that.
That's
than
100%
anything.
what it is.
I
It's
think
a recovery
recovery.
product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is recovery. It helps you instead of taking 3 days to recover.
Yeah.
24 hours, your muscles are back.
It's
to
100% agree with that statement. Yeah, it really is recovery. If you talk about any of these protocols, that's what it's about. It's about recovery. Yeah, it's great to have these kind of sort of positions we take and sort of preach a little bit too as we go through our lifting lives or our gym lives, right? Do you help out a lot of young guys? Are you coaching at all, or do you get involved in any type of things outside of your general programming and your general competitions? Do you do anything along those lines?
I've helped. I don't coach anybody, but I've helped a lot of guys. I've coached guys for free, so I don't really
Right.
say
That's
I
kind of how it
coach 'em.
starts, right?
Yeah, I kind of help them out. Guide them in the right ways. People always DM me, ask me questions and stuff like that. I'm always more open, to talk about anything they want. Give them advice when I could. And give them tips and tricks on what I do differently. And they send me videos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I help out whoever I could. I always try to give back. Growing up, bigger guys used to not really teach any of the younger
they
guys.
didn't.
Oh,
They
no.
didn't.
No. Get out of the way,
Yeah.
Yeah, I got shit to do.
Yeah, let me lift my shit. So
Yeah.
when I was younger, I'm like, if I ever get bigger or stronger, I'll love to teach everybody.
I think there's a few of us a part of that camp, because I remember too growing up and there was always the one guy around to give you a little something here and there that can maybe get you down the right path. But it was a big guessing game because you didn't have the kind of resources with the good personalities you got out there now that are willing to help.
True.
I noticed that you didn't have much of that attached to your social media when it comes to coaching, but I thought I'd ask because it seems to be one in the other these days. If you're in competition, you're coaching. It tends to be a money grab for a lot of people too,
True.
which I think is probably a bad thing for all these sports. Unqualified people giving information that's just sort of cookie cutter and going after the dough of it, I guess.
I agree.
But certainly with your resume, it wouldn't be hard to do that. I'm sure you probably get people asking all the time.
Yeah, a lot of people ask me to coach them. I just choose not to because I don't have the time to give somebody my full commitment. With me trying to, be the best powerlifter in the world and then nursing school, and juggling that and that, I got too much on my plate to try to coach anybody.
And the truth is, too, and it's no offense to you or anybody else, but there's very few elite world level powerlifters that break world records that actually understand coaching. They've been coached to get there. That doesn't mean they know how
That's
to
right.
coach.
True.
You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? People have to have an interest in that
True.
to learn that
Yeah.
and to do that. It's not just because I lift 2,000 pounds meaning I can coach you to 2,000 pounds.
No.
Yeah, and the idea is if you're a power lifter or a bodybuilder or a strongman and you've never done those sports, also doesn't mean you can't coach either.
Right.
There are just great coaches out there. Bill Belichick didn't play pro football, I don't
100%.
think,
100%.
but he's a great coach.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny because a lot of times in this industry, or I should say sort of in our genre, people cut shit for that, right? Well, who's this guy telling you what to do because he's never power lifted before? But there's great minds out there that just understand the way the body works.
Henny Rambo is one of the best coaches.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He's not a bodybuilder.
No.
They're interested. They're interested in it. They learn about it, and they have the mind for it. Right? It's beyond what you learn in a textbook. You have to take that and apply, which you talked about with Ben Pauly before. You have to take that, apply that. You have to look at all the feedback. Okay, that didn't work. We got to make this adjustment, and that's got to be interesting to you. Anybody can teach you something out of a fucking textbook.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing special there. It's the same thing with doctors, right? They'd spend 8 years learning a fucking textbook, and then it's called practicing for a fucking reason. Because they're spending the rest of their life practicing medicine.
True.
To figure out what the fuck is actually going on.
Yeah.
Very true.
We're an NC-17 show. This guy's favorite word
He
is
got deep
fuck.
with that one. He got deep with that
too.
one.
Man, I get passionate. I get passionate when it comes to coaching.
You look at our analytics, we got nobody under 17.
Are you a coach?
I do coach, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's because it's a passion of mine. Because similar to people that probably ended up in my position, is that like I was overweight. I was trying to lose weight.
Okay.
I tried to do it all by myself, so I did a bunch of research, right? And I found in doing that there was a multitude of information out there.
Okay.
And 99% of it was shit.
Okay.
99% of it was just wrong, was just some dude that lost some weight, so he's telling the next 100 people how to fucking lose weight, and that's just, it's not right? So I took a passion in that shit. So I became a personal trainer, and then I moved into strength and conditioning, and I don't coach now because I'm focusing on other stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still a passion of mine. I still study that shit at my house. I just gave Cody one of my old anatomy of strength books, and I was like, hey, take a look at this, because I love that stuff. It's very interesting to me. I don't have time to do it anymore, kind of similar to you. It's like, and I got other things to move on to. Now I have this platform where I can hopefully reach millions of people as opposed to 10 people in my gym. So
I agree. Honestly, I would love to coach. I think I have the mentality to coach. I just don't have the time. I always get called to go coach wrestlers. In high school and stuff.
Oh, you're still involved in that a bit.
Yeah.
How good of a wrestler were you?
I was pretty good.
Yeah.
World champ.
I bet you were.
World fucking champion.
I
man.
lost to one guy from Catholic Central every year.
No shit.
Yeah, and he was the number one in the States.
And you didn't take it to college with you?
No, I didn't want to.
Did you have a chance to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could have. I could have done sports. It just, I knew, I was thinking of how far can I take it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no, let me finish school.
Gotcha.
This isn't a career that I can take far or make money out of it.
Yep.
You're like, I got 4 more years of it, and then what?
Exactly.
And being a student
Something
athlete, that's a tough thing to do, especially when you're
Exactly.
focusing on a career like you're focusing on. Take a lot away from that. Or could, anyhow.
Yeah,
for a
so
lot
I
of
was
guys.
like, no, I'm good. I don't want to do any sports. I don't want to get injured where I have a torn ACL or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I hung it up after high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love helping back. I love teaching everybody. Sometimes I'll be lifting at the gym. I see somebody, doing something wrong, and they're like, hey, can you give me a tip? And I'll go show them.
Yeah.
I don't mind at all. I love helping.
You get back to the old high school sometimes when you're home?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Huh?
That's fun.
walk
Throwing
through
them little kids around.
Screaming at him.
That's
Stop
always
being
a
a-
fun time. Yeah.
In Wynn's open gym, I'm going to go up and bench press real quick, too, Yeah, that's
I never go off of programming no more.
You don't, do you?
Never.
Look at you,
Never.
man. You're too
I
good.
did in the beginning, but
that's smart.
I feel like my goal is too big to fall off. And
It is.
Like a lot of my bodybuilding friends are like, "Come on, let's go work out." I'm like,
Not
"Sorry,
today.
can't do that.
Yeah.
You want to come bench and squat with me?" They're like, "We're not benching and squatting." I'm like, "That's what my program calls." So
Yeah,
sorry.
right. No bar curls tonight or something.
No.
Yeah. That's great that you say that, because I see that more and more from top level athletes like yourself. You're not falling into that gym trap anymore.
No.
Because we grew up like that, right? I mean,
We did
it was-
fall into it a lot back in the day.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Chest and buys on a Friday night, you're damn right.
Get the pump going.
You get the pump going.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Now it's totally different for you. I saw you do it. I want to talk about your podcast a little bit, because you're going to get that going back up too, right? We talked about that?
Yeah, for sure.
And Clark, right, is your buddy.
Yeah.
Mick Rizzo, we call him?
Yeah.
He's a pretty jacked guy.
He is pretty jacked.
He is.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, he's a bodybuilder though, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, give him a little kudos right now, because I got to tell you, I see him sometimes and you guys are hanging out. I'm like, God damn, he's really looking good.
Yeah, I call him arms.
He's got some arms on him.
He
man.
got some biceps
Jeez,
like no other.
Pete.
Yeah,
I
he
know,
has the
I'm-
best crab pose I've ever seen. The most muscular.
Yeah.
He comes down and it's.
I think I saw a picture of that.
night and day.
Yeah,
I'm like, I love your pose. I've never been impressed by anybody.
But he's a bodybuilder though, right? He's sticking in that scene a
oh
little
yeah,
bit.
and that's what's cool. That's why we get along. I do me, he does him. We go to the gym together, but we complete.
See,
I'm on that
meet you in the
side.
middle. Meet you back for the shake.
He
kinda
spots
thing.
me sometimes. I spot
Yeah.
him. That's about it, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, "Oh, y'all go to the gym together and stuff," and we're like, "We don't work out together."
We go to the gym at the same time.
Yeah, our energy just collides,
Yeah.
and then we just know.
Best
you know?
friends. You guys are really good friends.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
can see that. Even when you're doing your podcast, which I know is going to come back out soon, right?
Yeah.
You're going to hash that up again. What
Yeah.
was the name of your podcast?
It was the Gym Freak Talk.
Gym Freak Talk. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Well, because you're the showman now.
Yeah.
But you always be the gym freak.
Oh, yeah.
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 I saw that actually. I looked at. Wait a second. The showman. It makes complete sense to me.
Yeah, somebody called me that, and I'm like, that makes sense. I do be putting on a show when I lift, you know. And,
Yeah.
And this old man came up to me when I was at my last meeting. He's like, "Man, you such a showman," and I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Your parents?" I'm like, "My parents." He's like, "Of course, they're standing up and yelling," and I'm like, "Oh,
They get
my
loud,
parents
don't
are."
they?
And yeah, and he was like, "You just put on a show, you know.
Yeah.
You didn't even lift the heaviest lifts, but
Yeah.
because I was doing a wrapped meat and I was raw.
Yeah.
So there was a guy squatting 900. But everybody was still like blown out with me, and I'm like, I didn't even win the meet. I don't know why y'all so excited. They're like, you're the showman. Like,
Yeah, I love that.
You know, so
to
I'm
me,
like-
that's the rock star of it, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a little bit that comes. Not everybody's built like that.
Yeah.
I wish more people were because
I
I
wish
get
too.
that. I enjoy the hell
Yeah,
out of that.
I love it.
This one right here is a showman. Look at that scream.
Oh, yeah.
I train her. Her name's Amber. She's an up and comer, junior powerlifter right now.
Nice.
But she is fun to watch, man.
She compete USPA.
She's
USAPL.
APL right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
She
she's
comes
a-
to that side. Let me know. I'll get her in some nice meets.
I will. Yeah, I will for sure. Yeah. I want her to start making her inroads within the community for sure because she's at that point now where she's probably about a year away from being an elite lifter. But in the low 900s right now for her
Nice.
at 162 pounds. But she's getting there. But she's a showman, and I love that.
It's fun.
Everybody remembers the showman.
Oh yeah.
It's not bad for
You
marketing.
know what's
right?
crazy is what I've noticed is girls show a lot more emotions than guys.
Oh yeah,
And powerlifting.
they
And
do.
I'm
Don't
like,
they? Yeah.
when you squat 800 and above, you're benching like show a little bit like top athletes. I'm like show a little more emotions. Like you know,
Yeah.
you're lifting something not any human could do. You know.
And we want to see that because we want these sports to grow, and they grow through consumership. They don't grow with
Exactly.
powerlifters watching powerlifters.
Exactly. You lift 800 pounds and then you just walk to that bag. It's like, okay.
Not me. I fucking scream. I'm a
Right.
screamer, bro.
Yeah, like,
I was gonna
let
put
some
you in
energy
control.
out,
She's
you
better
know?
to look at. Than you
She's
are,
way better
so,
to look
yeah,
at, but
yeah,
I'm
for
a
sure.
screamer. I got my squat picture. I'm
I ain't
fucking
the
red in
pretty,
the
I ain't
face.
the
and-
prettiest when I scream.
No, man, but your dance is smooth.
You know, I just have fun with it, man. It's just so much fun to do what I do and enjoy it. And then seeing people smile and get hype with me, it's like I feel the radiation in the crowd.
Yeah.
You know what else I love about your persona is you really are immersed in your heritage too. You know the way you're dressed and what do you call
Yeah.
what do you call your
Schmuck.
Schmuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
When you do that. Now I've seen you wear some other things too. I
Yeah.
love that. You bring that in with you, and I saw pictures of your mom and dad, and they're there with you.
Yeah.
And God, that's got to be a good feeling.
Oh, yeah.
Whole family's just circling around you
It's
right
super
now.
dope. Every time I do a lift, I'll go hug my parents.
Yeah.
I give them a hug, and they both kiss me. My mom kind of gets scared.
Yeah.
When she sees all the weight, and she's be praying and
Yeah,
stuff. You know how a
yeah.
mom is.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? It's like she hears 800 pounds.
Nothing
and
wrong
she's
with a little
like-
praying, man.
She's like,
So,
oh my
yeah.
God. And I see her kind of like super worried. And then when she sees me go up, and that's when she gets excited, like, okay, and she calms down,
Yeah.
My mom went to my first competition at Michigan State's this last year. She'd never seen me lift before. It's also the first time I failed a squat in competition. And she's like, I walked over there and of course she's like, it's okay, and I'm like, Mom, shut the fuck up, right? Because I'm a
You
little,
would,
I'm a
too.
little aggressive. I'm a little aggressive.
It's a shame, actually.
But
Sorry.
my mom goes, I wanted to run over there and be like, help you up because that's my baby boy, getting crushed by this bar, and I'm like, I'm glad you didn't fucking run up there and help. I love you, Mom, but I'd have left.
Hey, they worry. They
Yeah,
worry.
they're
you know?
worries, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I love it.
It seems like, it's nice to have that support, though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're coming to every one of your shows and enjoying it. Like,
Oh, yeah.
you're enjoying it, and you're giving
Yeah.
back to them. And, of course, everything you say great about your mom and dad, which you've already have on this show, I think it goes without saying your character is right where it needs to be. And I appreciate you coming out on the show today.
Thank you
yeah.
for having me.
I tell you, man, you're every bit the guy I thought you were going to be. I feel like I'm stalking you sometimes.
You are.
Because I stalk a lot of people, but I feel like I
You
get
have to
know
when you got a podcast.
Yeah,
You gotta get to know them a little bit.
Yeah, you definitely represent well, man. And I appreciate you coming on. And I got my hip surgery tomorrow, so I knew I wanted to get you on today. And I appreciate making
Hey,
the
good
drive.
luck with your hip surgery. Hopefully,
Hey man, I'm gonna
speedy
come
recovery,
back. I'm gonna
man.
document everything.
That'll be cool.
You know what I'm saying? Right from going in to 8 months from now, competing in my next strongman show. Hopefully, but in any case, I'll be bouncing some questions off the guys I know like you, and making sure I'm in the right camps to get the right information for my rehab. So you can count on that. M3 Detroit, I'll be getting hold of her as well because I'll be needing a little of that. But
Oh yeah, she's great.
thanks again for coming on, man. You got anything to say to anybody out there?
No, honestly, thank you guys for having me here. You know, you guys took the time out of your day to sit here and talk with me. You know, chop
our
it
pleasure.
up. You know,
My pleasure.
I don't really like to always talk about myself, but sometimes when I can give back and that involves in motivating people, I love to do it.
Yeah, well, thanks again, man. It was our pleasure, and I do it anytime. So have a safe trip back to Chicago. When you heading back?
Tomorrow,
Okay, we'll have a safe trip back, and we'll keep an eye on you. When's the next show, you said?
October.
October. All right, we'll get a hold of you before or after that.
sure.
Maybe have a quick Zoom call chat real quick.
For sure.
Maybe after.
Fucking Zoom. Let's go down to Chicago. Is it going to be in Chicago?
We need to get to Chicago.
I need to go. I need some Lou
Y'all can
Malnati's
come to
anyways.
Chicago, and then we can set up a little shit in my
I would love doing
apartment.
that. Hey, listen, man, I've been wanting to meet. There's a lot of great strongmen out there too, like you said. So I'd love to get out there to Chicago. So we'll talk.
Plus,
Oh, yeah.
I need
Oh,
Lou
yeah.
Malnati's pizza, bro. I'm dying for some.
There's a lot of good food.
Whenever
too.
you guys down there, let me know.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate it.
thank you guys
All right,
again.
thanks everybody.
Appreciate you.
All right.